Hey, good morning. It's another drive at 7 o'clock and 38 degrees. So it's a little chillier today than what it was yesterday. I thought, man, 2 of them videos is enough, ain't it? That you put up. And I thought, well, I ain't got nothing to do and other than drive and pay attention to the road and try to get a safe journey home. That's the goal anyway. Thought about stopping over at the old Rule King and looking around, and I don't know why, but I like that store. That's one of my favorite stores. If you happen to have one in your area or something, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It's kind of the old Tractor Supply is a similar store, but I like it real well. I usually get my stuff there if I can. They give you free popcorn, you come in and Rule King's got the free popcorn out there, and oh man, it's like, that's just amazingly great because I like their popcorn. It tastes pretty darn good, it does. So I like to eat it. I had a little Rule King popcorn last night, and it was tasty. So, but yes, nothing like some good old Rule King popcorn. And that's a nice courtesy for a store to give you. That's for sure. A lot of stores don't do nothing like that. So I enjoy that. And they got really nice, friendly employees too. Almost all the time. About everybody's real friendly in there. So that always makes it nice too. Nothing like going into a store and the customer service is horrible. People are just nasty. One time, here's a good story for you about a musket. I was going to get I believe it was a brown bass musket. This has been a while back, because you'll know it's been a while back because the price of it was about, I think it was like $999 for this musket. And of course, at that price, being a flintlock brown bass musket, it's a Pedersoli is what it is. And I believe it was a long lamb pattern. And I called over at Cabela's in Columbus is where it was. And I was asking, I tried to get a hold of the sporting goods department. You couldn't get a hold of them. Nobody answered the phone. So I tried to call around the store. Finally, I did find somebody that would answer the phone at Cabela's. And when I did, I said, hey, I need the sporting goods. And they directed me to it, but nobody answered the phone. So I'm like, well, maybe nobody's back there. Well, finally, I called back, and I just asked for a manager. So I got a manager. And I said, hey, I got a long drive to get to you. For an item that I want to purchase, and it's a substantial amount of money. You're looking at over $1,000 purchase, and I wanted to make sure that you had it in stock, and if you could hold it for me until I get there to pick it up. And she says they'll be in at like 8 o'clock. Call back, because I called earlier. Maybe it was 9 o'clock or something, I don't know, but anyway, it was early in the morning. And I said, is it possible that you could go back and take a look, maybe, and see if they have one, or get somebody in the store that could look and see, because I want to come over and get it. And she said, well, that's a long walk back there, and I don't really feel like walking. And I'm like, well, okay, so I'll call back then, I guess, apparently. So I called back, tried to call, couldn't get nobody to answer the phone. Finally, I got somebody to answer the phone there at Cabela's, and turns out to be the same girl I was talking to before. And you wasn't going to get her to do nothing. So, needless to say, eh? Yeah, that's right. They didn't have any anyway. They had them online on the internet. They said they had 2 of them. They didn't have any. So, I didn't get one. But I wanted to, but I certainly didn't want to drive all that way clear over there to find out that they didn't have any in stock, because that was the only goal for even going in that direction. So didn't get it, but customer service, man, it was horrible. They wouldn't even go look or anything else for you. And you'll find that once in a while. But I always get good service in at Rural King, so that's always a nice place to go. But yes, it is nice for people to say, hey, can I help you? And that's the difference between some businesses, you know. The advertisement is something you put out for people that's already been in your store, looked around and said, well, you know, and they walked out and never said a word. That's what you're advertising for, to get those people to come into your store. Well, gee, they come into the store and they walked out and never said a word. What was the problem? You know, my store's as good as anybody else's. And you got two identical stores. Maybe they're selling the same thing. One store does real well, one store don't. Well, the store that does real well, when a person walks in, if he's on the phone, he'll put the phone down and say, hey, can you hold, please? And he'll say, hey, can I help you? You know, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, so they say. So if you got a customer and they're right there in front of you, you don't stay on your phone. They do that stuff at AutoZone and places like that real bad. They'll keep yakking on the phone. And it's like, dudes, I'm waiting here. You know, well, heck with it. I'm ahead. Almost said a naughty word. I said, heck with it. I'm going to go down to Advance Auto then, huh? Or O'Reilly's or something. I'm done. I ain't standing around waiting on you to talk on the phone. I'm the man who's right here in the store on the floor. In the store on the floor, eh? That's right. And you needed to give me the customer service because I'm in your store. And they don't do that. So that's the difference. So the one store where the guy just keeps talking on the phone and he'll get to you when he's done with his phone conversation, you don't have too good of sales and winds up going out of business. But the guy who jumps right on the bandwagon and says, hey, can I help you? Because you're right there in his store, he's the man who survives. His business thrives. People want to go there. So it's always nice to go places where there's honesty. Nobody's trying to cheat you. And they tell you just like it is. It's always a good policy. I just love when people are honestly truthful about stuff. You know, it's just no good. People want to tell you stories and lies and twist stuff around and make things seem like they're not. And, you know, sometimes it's harmless and sometimes it can cause a lot of trouble and problems. So that's no fun. Some people, though, you got to realize they can't carry a joke very well at all. So you got to watch out for that, because they do dumb stuff and then they let it go too far or whatever. Or they get people in on it and somebody else gets burned or whatever. I don't know. Some people's sense of humor can be, you know, a little hard to take for the most part. But most of the time, you know, I like a good joke and I like to have some fun. We used to hang out and one of the guys come in and they'd be picking on him, and then somebody else show up and he'd sit down, relax, drink some coffee, and then we start picking on the other guy, you know, and we'd pick on each other. Nothing bad, just goofing around, telling different stories and dumb stuff that we did. We were always doing something stupid, you know, goofing off, trying to have some fun, that's all. So a lot of times we take for granted our health and everything else sometimes when we can get out and do stuff. We wind up getting injured or something, and, you know, we just take it for granted. So if you're healthy, you know, it's a good idea to probably plan some stuff to do. Then you'll say, well, what can I do? Well, you know, there's lots of stuff you can do. You just have to look. I go online, sometimes I'm looking for rendezvous and stuff like that where they have like different shows. There's gun shows, there's trade festivals. I like the blanket ones. I've never really been to one, but the ones I'm watching on YouTube with the blankets. And all you guys out there that's filming that stuff and putting it up, it's highly appreciated. I like watching it. I know sometimes some of them, the museums and different things, they don't get a lot of views or a lot of hits, but they got some really good videos. Some stuff is just real professional, and some stuff is really historical. Some of that historical stuff, people just don't, you know, they don't have a huge interest in it, but it's always good to know. So, I mean, history is can be fascinating and a lot of fun, but there's got to be a way to tell that stuff and get some excitement into it. And I think it's the way you tell it, the way it goes, you know. Sometimes I might tell a story or something, and it's something I got pretty excited about. Makes it a lot better. That's for sure. But heck, I done stuff I never even know I done before till now. Like when I went to college, I used to go down to the park and set. I had no clue when I did that back in, this is clear back in 1981. I'm sitting in a park by a water fountain. It's real relaxing, watching ships go up and down the river. And I have no clue that I'm sitting in Fort Pitt, right? That goes back to your old Daniel Boone days and everything else. I had no clue. And I sat in there, it's not really, it's a park now with a big fountain and stuff right there. And I sat in there, and I was down there in college messing around. Went to, it's an airline school where they taught you management of airlines, hotels, and different stuff like that down there. And I don't know. I didn't apply myself very good. Never did really care too much about school whatsoever. A lot of people push for college. Oh, college. Well, I've been in and out of a lot of colleges and stuff like that. You know, I guess they got their place, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I just wasn't into it. I ended up having to get some anyway. A little bit of college. But that's why I put on my applications if I was going out, I'll put some college, because I got some. But college might be fantastic, but common sense is even better. If you got common sense, you'll do pretty good. But that's the system, you know. And some people, you know, are trying to be like super kids, super students, all that kind of stuff. I like that. I like straight A's. I don't like to miss an answer. If I miss one, I have to take it all over again. And, you know, I just didn't believe in missing one. And then you find that, okay, so they're giving you some confusing questions. Both answers are right, but you didn't pick the one they wanted. Something like that. So you end up getting, you know, the buzzer. And it's like, oh, man, you start getting depressed and stuff like that. That's ridiculous, you know. You're putting an unnecessary strain on yourself. If you can't get it, what do? Well, you study and you learn and you study and you study. You know, some things will stick in my head. Like, I might do something or see something and it just sticks right in there. But other things, you couldn't get me to remember it or stick it in my head. Period. It just ain't going to happen. Things I want to learn sometimes, you know, I cannot learn. I can't learn it. It's no matter what I do, it does not stick in my head. And there's other stuff that I don't care 2 cents about, and it'll stick in my head, and I could do it just as good as anybody and be just as amazing at whatever it is that I'm doing. I don't understand it. I don't really want to do it, don't care about it, but it sticked in me head, it did. So I don't know if anybody else has that problem or not, but I sure do. I was like, I got to learn how to do that. And it's like, for the life of me, I can't seem to get it done. I decided I wanted to mess around maybe and make some bull whips. I thought those are pretty cool. So I got some paracord and stuff and tried it out. I'll give a shout out to a guy that did a YouTube video years ago. And I believe he sold them and stuff too. I mean, they're a little bit, you know, for me anyway at the time. I thought they were a little bit pricey, but I certainly wasn't successful in making them. But he showed you how he made them and everything, and you could make one for yourself, or you could purchase one if you wanted to. But I believe it was Nick's Whip Shop or something of that nature. So those are good videos. If you're into bull whips and you like that kind of stuff and you want to snap some playing cards into, just like that. I don't know if I could snap a playing card in two, but I know I snapped a chunk of meat off my butt cheek one time playing around with a bull whip. I can tell you that. That stings. So you got to be careful because you could accidentally, whip it around and snap yourself. It's not the easiest things to snap them sometimes. Not the easiest, I say. So, but they are fun, and I could not get that pattern down, I even forget what they call the pattern now. But, if you could get that down, you could get some good rope or cotton and stuff like that. You could make some 18th century historical items by knowing how to weave that stuff and everything. I get confused on it. I used, he uses paracord to do them, and that's what I had too. But if you get some time period correct rope and stuff, you could make one. Or if you had some leather, I suppose you could make it out of leather strips even if you wanted to. But it's a pretty cool way of doing stuff. I just could never get it down. I tried. I got confused, 1 over, 2 under, something like that, or 2 over and 1 under, and form a pattern. And I think I got close one time where I started seeing something, but it just wasn't something I could do. Then I thought maybe if I got different color strands, maybe I could sort it out, because they just all kind of blended together. And then, of course, if I would have probably been smart, maybe I was trying to do it without no glasses on, so I can't even see what I'm doing half the time. And I'm not smart enough to put on glasses. I just get frustrated. It's like, why don't you put on your reading glasses, and then you can see what you're doing? And it's like, no, I ain't going to do that. I'd rather sit here and not know what I'm doing, apparently. So, whoa, what a dumb thing to do, But, yeah, I get a little flustered sometimes. My whole life, I've never needed glasses, and then there came a time when, well, hey, you get that age where the old vision isn't what it used to be. So, when I think computers and having my face stuck on this very item that I'm shooting a video on now in that phone might be part of the culprit, Too much time with your eyeballs sucked into the old iPhone. Yep, that could be the culprit causing the eyeball troubles, huh? So, but hopefully the weather don't get too crazy or nothing. It's been pretty warm, and it's a little cooler today. Oh, it's let's see, 38, 40, about 20 degrees cooler. But some folks are like, well, the old weather's mighty abnormal. And I tried to look up the records. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I'm going to throw this out there, and you tell me if you've noticed, because I have. Used to be when you sat and watched the news around here, they would go on there and they'd say, well, the temperature today is at 58 degrees, and back in 1898 was the record high, and 19 whatever was the record low, and they'd give you the highs and lows ever since they started collecting the data on weather historically, and you could match it up with the temperature and say, oh yeah, a lot of times you find out, well, it's 58 degrees today. Global warming! Oh yeah, really? And then if you historically could figure out and get a hold of it, it's been like 7 degrees back in 1892, It's like, well, it ain't the first time it's been that warm on this day in history. So I notice they don't do that anymore. And it's like, man, I'd like to, if I'm going to do a lot of things, I'd like to see, weather temperatures in global history. Ever since they started keeping weather records, they got them. They don't announce them no more. So there you are sitting there, and I'm like, oh, another conspiracy going on in your little mind. And because they don't want you to know what the temperatures have been in the past and everything, because you won't take their little global warming scam seriously. And do I think it's getting warmer? Why, I think it might if you burn the forests off in Canada all summer. That might do it. Plus all these bombs and stuff are setting off here and there around the world and making more heat, generating heat, causing smoke and clouds and pollution. Yeah. I'd say you can change your climate if you do enough destruction to everything that you can. Yes, you could. Because I could tell a lot of times before how winter was going to be. I mean, the old timers would tell you, if the caterpillar's really black, it's going to be a bad winter. You don't really see many caterpillars around here anymore. Used to be all over the place, but you don't really see them. So I'm wondering if they didn't wipe them out too for some reason, because they could tell the weather, right? You can't have them filthy caterpillars telling the weather forecast now, can you, for the winter? You know, and the Farmer's Almanac, they used to get that and follow that religiously. Some people, they sure did. They'd follow that Farmer's Almanac religiously. And it does have some interesting stuff in there. It's amazing what you can do with knowledge, you know. If you're smart, you got good knowledge. So, and I guess good news is, so far, I'm not going to do anything but knock on wood. This cold seems to be getting better. I usually get concerned when it tries to get down into my lungs and get congested and everything, but I happen to be around a factory, and I don't know what they do. They mold plastic or something, but they had plastic fumes all over in there, and you could smell that stuff, and that stuff was like detrimental to my lungs. And it like almost gave me like a frostbite in them is what it felt like, where I breathed in that plastic fumes. So, and I think that stuff's supposed to go up in the air and not come down on the ground. But it was there, and man, did it mess me up yesterday pretty darn good. It don't take much to mess me up. My old lungs I don't know what's wrong with them. They're susceptible to all kinds of problems for some reason. But that's just the way it is. They do seem to get better. And that's good news. So if you take the right vitamins and stuff like that, guess what? You can heal. Yes, you can. So, and you can pray for healing too. That's always a good idea. Try to heal up and get yourself back in shape. That's always an excellent idea. So, and watch what you're doing. You don't want to do things that's going to unheal you, right? It's like, oh, I wish my ankle didn't hurt so bad, and you go out and jump off a 6-foot dock or something and wonder why your ankle's hurting. Oh my goodness, Edward. Gotta get moving. There's traffic coming down the road. Didn't see them till I started pulling out, and all of a sudden, there they are. It's like, oh no. Get a move on there, slowpokey. So, but I noticed a lot of the bridges and stuff are all crumbling and falling apart. I don't know what's going on with that. I guess we don't have any money to fix our bridges or our roads or our highways anymore. The infrastructure suffers as the, I don't know what you want to call them, line their pocketbooks instead of take care of what they're supposed to and bleed everything out. You'll be looking like those provinces and places in the Ukraine and stuff that I watched when Bald and Bankrupt was traveling around, where they're all in ruin because them politicians bleed the countries dry and take everything they can and give it to what's his face, you know all the stories. You guys ain't, what you want to call it, ignorant. That's for darn sure. You know what's going on. A lot of people's waking up. I hate it when you get on there and the news comes on and they act like I'm supposed to be shocked or something. It's like, oh my God. It's like, dudes, I could have told you this 6 months ago. I could have did a better interview with Vladimir Putin than what Tucker Carlson did. I can tell you that right now. He never asked, it was good. But on the other hand, there's so many other questions he could ask as to why that situation had to happen, because there's a lot more to it than what you imagine. And of course, the Russian president, he didn't want to say or disclose too much information or whatever. So, but that was good. If you haven't watched that might be something you can check out. But you know, there's some historic great leaders in the world that can really lead the people, and they're pulling coups on them and knocking them right off their horse and taking them out, and then they're getting in these lunatics. Like, you know, we got lunatics running stuff. It's just insane. That's all it is. It's an insane, bizarro world of lunatics in power. Yeah, it's a twilight zone and a half. Yeah, it's frustrating, but what are you going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. You ain't going to do nothing. That's what you're going to do. Or maybe you can try to follow the system and do something. Get involved with the schools, stuff like that. That's what they tell you. And of course, me, I'm the worst at that because I just like to mind my own business. And I think most people do. And that's where we're getting in trouble. We spend too much time minding our own business, we did, when we should have been out advocating, if that's the right word, for getting people like-minded that want to keep this country on track and make it a great and wonderful place to raise your children. That's what you need. You want a great, wonderful place to raise your children? Yes, I do. Well, there you go. So they're safe and secure. You don't have to worry about them. It makes it nice. You can enjoy yourself because there's so many good people in the world and everything. But yet there's a lot of bad ones too. So you got to watch out for them. Sometimes bad people coming into your life doing good things. You got to look out for that mess. And other times, you know, good people come into your life. You got what the minister I was talking to there one day. He told me something that resonated in my mind. He said, you know, good people do bad things, and bad people do good things. So I think you got to take exception with the good people that make mistakes and do bad things, but you got to watch out for the bad people that do good things because them's the ones that'll get you. So, and hey, looky, once again, a safe journey. Nothing going on. So we're thankful for that. All right, well, everybody have a great day. I'm going to put this up. It'll take a while. It took me all day yesterday to get that one to go up. So, yes, all day long. And hopefully, I'll get to enjoy myself doing something today. Maybe I'll do something silly. Who knows? You never know. All right, well, let us say adios and all that fun stuff then, right? And we'll see you next time when old Ed comes up with some more baloney, right?